I came home to find my $1,000 koi fish dead all because my neighbor's kid broke into my yard and she wants me to pay for it. I, 22 months, have a koi pond in my backyard. It's not just any koi pond, it's a full-blown, professionally designed Japanese garden with a bridge, waterfalls, and koi that cost more than my car. I'm talking $1,000 for a single fish. Maintaining this pond is my pride and joy. I've put years into this hobby, and my yard is securely fenced with no trespassing signs everywhere. Enter my neighbor, Karen, fake name, but fitting. Karen has a son, let's call him Timmy, 8M, who is notorious for wandering into other people's yards uninvited. I've talked to Karen multiple times about this, but she just brushes it off with, "Kids will be kids." Last week, while I was out running errands, I got a frantic call from Karen. Apparently, Timmy climbed over my fence to feed the fish, even though I have explicitly told him to stay out. In doing so, he slipped, fell into the pond, and destroyed part of my carefully maintained ecosystem. Several of my prized koi died due to stress, and the filtration system was damaged because of the debris Timmy kicked in. Luckily, Timmy wasn't seriously hurt, just a few scrapes, but Karen has been demanding I pay for his medical bills. She claims my pond is an attractive nuisance and that I should have had a cover or something to prevent kids from falling in. I argued that, 1, it's a private, fenced property, and 2, her son had no business being there in the first place. When I refused to pay, Karen lost it and started bad-mouthing me to the whole neighborhood, calling me heartless and a terrible person. I've since filed a lawsuit against her for the cost of the koi, the damage to my filtration system, and repairs to my pond, over $5,000 in total. Some of my friends think I'm taking it too far, saying he's just a kid, but others agree that Karen should have been watching him better. So, Reddit, AITA for suing my neighbor after her kid trespassed and destroyed my koi pond? Update 1. Alright, so things have escalated in ways I didn't even think were possible. Let's start with Karen. After filing the lawsuit, I was prepared for some backlash, but I wasn't expecting her to go full-blown Karen mode. She didn't just badmouth me in the neighborhood, she's now actively trying to get people to boycott me. Over what, I'm not entirely sure, since it's not like I sell anything or rely on anyone around here for my livelihood. But she's made it her personal mission to turn me into the villain of the year. First, she started this ridiculous rumor that I'm secretly running some kind of illegal koi breeding operation. Yes, you read that right. She told people I'm apparently importing black market koi and selling them under the table. I'm pretty sure she got this idea from some random documentary she half-watched because she keeps throwing around terms like invasive species and wildlife trafficking. The only thing I'm trafficking is the food I order for these fish, but okay, Karen. Next, she decided to take the drama online. She posted this long, overly dramatic rant in the neighborhood Facebook group, complete with pictures of Timmy looking all sad and pitiful. She claimed I was profiting off the suffering of innocent children. First of all, what? Second of all, the photos of Timmy were clearly staged because the kid was holding a stuffed animal and pouting in his front yard. I don't even think he understands what's going on because every time I see him, he just waves at me like nothing happened. Anyway, the post backfired spectacularly because, apparently, Karen isn't as well liked as she thinks. A bunch of people chimed in to say that Timmy has been causing problems for years. One neighbor shared a story about Timmy riding his bike through their freshly planted flower beds, and when they confronted Karen, she said, "Kids need to explore nature." Another person said Timmy once stole their garden hose and used it to flood their patio for an experiment. So yeah, turns out Karen and Timmy have a bit of a reputation. But the best part? One of the comments was from someone who used to live on this street and straight up called Karen a serial complainer. They said she once tried to sue their dog for barking too much. I have no idea if that's true, but it wouldn't surprise me at this point. Now, back to my koi pond. The damages ended up being worse than I initially thought. The filtration system didn't just get clogged, it completely burned out, and replacing it is going to cost me close to $3,000. On top of that, I lost 7 koi, and 2 others are still not doing great because the stress messed with their immune systems. These fish aren't just expensive, they're also delicate. One of the surviving koi, A particularly rare breed I named Yuki is now in a separate tank with medication, and I'm genuinely worried she might not make it. When I told Karen about the updated damages, she scoffed and said, "You're just trying to milk me for money. Those fish aren't worth that much." Ma'am, do you want to see the receipts? I literally have a binder of invoices from the breeder, the maintenance costs, and the installation of the pond itself. This isn't me throwing out random numbers. This is documented proof. Of course, Karen being Karen, she's decided to escalate things even further. A few days ago, I noticed someone had thrown rocks into my pond. Not just little pebbles, I'm talking about fist-sized rocks that could easily crack the liner. Luckily, I have security cameras, so I checked the footage, and guess who it was? Timmy. This kid climbed back over my fence and started chucking rocks into the water like he was playing some sort of twisted game. I immediately called Karen and she said, "Well, maybe if you didn't sue me, Timmy wouldn't be acting out. He's under a lot of stress, you know." I'm sorry, what? You're blaming me for your kid's behavior? Maybe if you actually parented him, we wouldn't be in this situation. I've since submitted the footage to my lawyer, and they're adding it to the case. At this point, it's not just about the money, it's about holding her accountable. I don't care if Timmy is just a kid. Karen needs to learn that her actions, or lack of actions, have consequences. In the meantime, I've started reinforcing my fence. I'm talking about adding spikes to the top and motion sensor lights all around. I even put up more no trespassing signs, including one in bright red letters that says, "Trespassers will be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law." Overkill? Maybe, but I'm not taking any chances. The neighborhood, for the most part, seems to be on my side. A few people have stopped by to offer their support, including one guy who brought me cookies and said, "We've all wanted to sue Karen at some point. You're just the first one brave enough to do it." That was a nice little morale boost. As for Karen, she's been pretty quiet since the Facebook post blew up in her face. I think she's realized that not everyone is buying her sob story, especially after people started sharing their own experiences with her. But knowing her, this is probably just the calm before the storm. So yeah, that's where things stand for now. I'm waiting for the court date, taking care of my remaining koi and bracing myself for whatever nonsense Karen decides to throw my way next. If this is what she's like over a pond, I can only imagine what she'd do if someone actually wronged her. Stay tuned, I guess. Update 2. Buckle up because Karen has managed to outdo herself in ways I genuinely didn't think were possible. I don't even know where to start with this circus. But let's just say things have taken a turn from mildly annoying to, are we in an episode of Cops? So the lawsuit is still ongoing. My lawyer is confident we have an airtight case between the footage of Timmy trespassing and the documented damages. But apparently, Karen decided that waiting for a legal resolution wasn't her style. Instead, she went rogue. A few nights ago, I was woken up at 2 a.m. by my security system going off. I checked the cameras, and guess who was lurking in my backyard? Karen. Not Timmy this time. Karen herself. She was holding a pair of wire cutters and trying to snip through my reinforced fence. Let me repeat that. This grown woman was actively trying to break into my property in the middle of the night. I called the cops immediately because, well, what else was I supposed to do? When they arrived, Karen was still there, caught red-handed with the wire cutters. Her excuse? She claimed she was retrieving a toy that Timmy had accidentally thrown over the fence. First of all, there was no toy. Second of all, why would you try to retrieve it at 2 a.m. with wire cutters? The cops didn't buy her story for a second. She was slapped with a trespassing charge and hauled off in a squad car. Now you'd think that would be the end of it, right? Wrong. The next day, Karen came knocking on my door, screaming about how I've ruined her life and how I'm a vindictive monster. She said her arrest is going to scar Timmy for life because he saw her being taken away. Ma'am, maybe don't break into people's property and this wouldn't be an issue, just a thought. But wait, it gets better. She also threatened to countersue me for emotional distress because, according to her, my koi pond has caused her nothing but grief. Yes, that's right. The pond is apparently the source of all her problems. She even said that if I had just filled it in with concrete like a responsible neighbor, none of this would have happened. I told her to take it up with my lawyer and slammed the door in her face. Speaking of Timmy, I wish I could say he's been staying out of trouble, but no. A neighbor caught him trying to climb their tree to get into my yard again, and when confronted, he said he was just trying to say sorry to the fish. I don't even know how to respond to that. Is Karen coaching him to act innocent, or does this kid really think koi fish understand apologies? Either way, I've had to reinforce my fence even more. At this point, my backyard is starting to look like Fort Knox. The neighborhood drama has also reached new heights. After Karen's arrest, she doubled down on her smear campaign, but this time it seems to be working against her. More neighbors have come forward with stories about her antics. One person said she once dumped an entire bag of trash on their lawn because she thought their dog barked too much. Another shared that she called CPS on them because their kids were too loud during a birthday party. Basically, Karen has been terrorizing this street for years, and now everyone's had enough. In a surprising turn of events, the neighborhood Facebook group has basically turned into an anti-Karen support page. Someone even made a meme of her mugshot with the caption, "When you try to snip your way out of a lawsuit." I know it's petty, but I laughed harder than I probably should have. As for my koi pond, the repairs are finally underway. The new filtration system is being installed next week, and I've ordered replacement koi from the same breeder. It's going to take months for the ecosystem to fully recover, but at least it's a start. I've also decided to invest in even more security measures, including an alarm system that activates if anyone even touches the fence. Now here's the kicker. My lawyer recently informed me that Karen's countersuit is unlikely to hold up in court, but she's apparently planning to use it as leverage to try to settle. She thinks I'll drop my lawsuit if she drops hers. Spoiler alert, that's not happening. At this point, it's not just about the money, it's about sending a message. If you can't parent your kid, you don't get to blame everyone else when things go wrong. So that's where we are now. Karen's facing a trespassing charge, Timmy's still trying to audition for America's Next Top Fence Climber, and I'm just over here trying to rebuild my pond in peace. Honestly, this whole thing feels like a bad soap opera, but I'm committed to seeing it through. If anything else happens, you can bet I'll update you all. Stay tuned. Update 3. Alright, folks, this saga has officially reached its absurd conclusion, and I have to say it's even more ridiculous than I could have imagined. Strap in because this is the wildest chapter yet. First, let's start with the court case. After months of back and forth, my lawsuit against Karen finally went to court. My lawyer came in armed to the teeth with evidence, the security footage of Timmy trespassing, receipts for the koi and pond repairs, and even testimony from neighbors who witnessed Karen's attempts to turn my backyard into her personal playground. Karen, on the other hand, showed up with nothing but a printed-out PowerPoint presentation titled "The Danger of Ponds." Yes, you read that right. She made a PowerPoint. The presentation was essentially just a slideshow of random stock images of ponds with captions like, "Would you let your child near this?" and "A lawsuit waiting to happen." It had absolutely nothing to do with my specific koi pond, but Karen delivered it with the confidence of someone presenting groundbreaking research at a TED Talk. The judge, to their credit, sat through the whole thing with a straight face, though I did catch them pinching the bridge of their nose more than once. Unsurprisingly, the court ruled in my favor. Karen was ordered to pay for the full cost of the damages, which, by the end, totaled just over $9,000. That includes the new filtration system, the replacement koi, and labor costs for restoring the pond's ecosystem. The judge even tacked on an additional $1,000 for nuisance damages because Karen's antics had caused so much disruption. Now, you'd think that would be the end of it, right? Nope. Karen, in true Karen fashion, decided to appeal the decision. But here's where it gets hilarious. Her appeal was immediately thrown out because she missed the deadline to file. Apparently, she thought the deadline was just a suggestion and showed up a week late with a handwritten letter claiming she'd been too busy to file on time because Timmy had soccer practice. But the real kicker came about a week after the court ruling. Remember how I mentioned the neighborhood Facebook group had turned into a bit of an anti-Karen page? Well, someone discovered that Karen had been using GoFundMe to try to raise money for her legal fees. The fundraiser was titled, "Help a Single Mom, Fight a Rich Bully Neighbor," and it was full of lies about how I had trapped her son in a dangerous situation and was ruining their lives out of spite. Here's the best part. The fundraiser raised exactly $27 before being reported and taken down for violating GoFundMe's terms of service. When that happened, Karen posted a rant claiming she was being silenced by the system and vowed to expose the corruption in our neighborhood. By corruption, I assume she means people refusing to fund her nonsense. As for Timmy, I honestly feel a bit bad for the kid. He's been noticeably absent from the neighborhood lately, and the one time I did see him, he just gave me a sheepish wave and ran inside. I hope he turns out okay despite Karen's influence, but I won't hold my breath. Now, for the good news. My koi pond is finally back to its former glory. The new filtration system is working perfectly, and the replacement koi have settled in nicely. Yuki, the koi I was worried about, made a full recovery and is now swimming around like nothing ever happened. I've even added a few extra features to the pond, including a motion-activated sprinkler system that goes off if anyone gets too close to the fence. It's not exactly subtle, but it gets the job done. The neighborhood seems to have collectively decided that Karen is officially persona non grata. A few people have even started openly avoiding her, and there's been talk about starting a petition to get her to move. I doubt it'll go anywhere, but it's nice to know I'm not the only one who's had enough of her antics. So, that's it. The koi pond is safe. Karen owes me $10,000, which, let's be real, I'm probably never going to see in full, and the neighborhood drama has finally died down, for now at least. If nothing else, this whole ordeal has taught me the importance of investing in security cameras, reinforced fences, and a healthy sense of humor. Thanks to everyone who stuck around for this wild ride. It's been cathartic to share this chaos with you all, and I hope it provided some entertainment along the way. Here's to hoping my koi pond can finally have some peace. Lord knows it's earned it.